What's up, Sound Shapers? This is Nick Johnson. Welcome to the channel, and if you're new, welcome in general. We do a lot of shaping here. We have another epic piece of music to break down and shape together. So let's get started. This one starts with a story. I took a journey down to the Bosque, and the Rio Grande River was flowing through. It was around 3 o'clock-ish, and I found a nice resting spot with my girlfriend, and we were on a bike ride. And so we found this cool cottonwood tree that had fallen into the river, and it seemed to still be growing, but it had a giant trunk, and we were able to walk on it and basically walk right on top of this tree. And these coyotes started howling and yipping, and it was quite an interesting sound. So I pulled out my phone and I started recording what it sounded like. So this is what the coyotes sounded like. Create a new track here. I'll show you what the original recording sounded like because I've changed it a little bit since then. So here's the recording. Kind of spooky, but it's wild. You can hear some birds in there. So the next day, when I was just hanging out with my girlfriend, we started basically coming up with a basic beat idea based off of that sample. So this is what that sounds like. We're sitting on the couch, just with some extra time on our hands, and we tried to imagine what this beat could turn into. We started doing this. I was listening to the coyotes off my phone while recording this onto the watch. So that's the basic idea. Little rhythm from Felicia. So I went ahead and I called up that sample on my watch when I got back to the studio, and I started tapping out the tempo. Once I got the tempo, I basically started to find a sound. And this is the first sound that I found to go with the coyotes. It's fun to hear how the coyotes start to get more musical as soon as you start to add rhythm to it and melody. From there, I added some French horns. By the way, I was using Ethereal Earth on Contact, and Dream Runner is the preset sound I was using. After that, I opened up Philharmonic. I found some French horns. 4 French horns is what we're hearing here. And that sounds like this alone with the coyotes. As soon as you add that horn, it's almost like the coyotes got a little noble, you know? So with the other sound, it sounds like this. After that, I added some more horns with Philharmonic 2. This time I added 3 trumpets, all played on the piano together. And so here's what that sounds like. It's got some like lo-fi, some room reverb theater, and some lo-fi effect on it. Without those effects, it sounds like this. As soon as I had that, I was thinking, well, I don't want that trumpet sound to be the predominant thing, but I still like its tone. I like the melody that it's introducing. So I took those and I committed them to a new track, and I basically put a slicer on them. So there's a internal effect called slicer in the Philharmonic, and it sounded like this once I put that effect on. There's the effect by itself. I believe that's the Univ, not the slicer, that's making that sound on Philharmonic. And then I went ahead and committed that horn track, those trumpets, one more time, and I put the slicer on it. And that's what gave this sound. Interesting, right? So now, with the French horns and the ethereal earth sound with the coyotes, it sounds like. By this time, I was ready to add a bass. The bass that I chose was from Opus, Forbidden Planet, and that sounds like this. Has like a nice glide time of 526 milliseconds. So when I play two keys basically overlapped on each other, it glides. And now hear that with the sounds that we have so far. By this point, I was really getting a feel for the type of atmosphere and mood this was creating, all inspired by those coyotes by the river. And so by this point, I was ready to add some drums. I went to Drum Lab and I found a really cool kick, snare, and hi-hat. Here's what they sound like. After adding those drums, when you hear the slight bit of coyotes in there, it's almost like a celebration, like they're just letting loose, right? Maybe they caught some food out there, and as a pack, they were all celebrating the bounty of whatever they're about to eat. So I felt like this was really inspiring me. And so with those drums, I was like, okay, I don't want to add too much, but I started to think about some strings, like some plucked strings. And so I added these. Another sound by Philharmonic. These are violas, pizzicato, 8 of them, all played on keyboard. Drums go away. And come back. Coyotes come back for the drop. So when that break came into the music, I was wondering if I could add anything to just sweeten the mood of it. And so I found this really cool sound on Sky Keys. It's like a reverse delay effect, and it sounds like this. Some cool texture in there. Hear how that sound sounds like during the break. When the drums come back, I added a bass layer to build the feel of the bass. So here's the bass with the drums and the coyotes. No coyotes at the moment. So here's the bass without the added layer as the coyotes come back. Now see if you can hear the addition as I turn on this new bass layer. See if you can pick it up. So what you were hearing was this layer. With no plugins, it sounds like big difference. What I did was I added a filter first. I put a bandpass. BPF stands for bandpass and makes a shape like this. Boosted the resonance, brought up the frequency, and it ended up turning this into this. That gave me the first type of character. From there, I turned the driver on. That kind of brought it up. Now we can start listening to this with the same bass, non-affected. Here we go. After adding that driver, I added this Nor. Warmed it up a little bit. Without it, it's kind of buzzy. This is just a better buzzy. After that, I added some recirculate delay. This really brought this sound to life. So check it out. Without it, it sounds like this. Now, with it, yeah, added some stereo, added some reverb, some delay. I was like, okay, let's hear this with the music. And in efforts to not steal the attention any bit more from everything else that's going on, I added this choral effect to that bass. Here's how it sounds. Without it, kind of pops up a little bit, sticks out. But when you add it, it sounds like this. So I would picture this part of the song would be basically the verse. And so to make that verse a little more special, I added that bass layer I just showed you. So moving on. From here, I grabbed a guitar and I started playing, and I grabbed an acoustic guitar, and this is basically what I ended up adding. Make sure only the acoustic guitar plays for y'all. And here's what the acoustic guitar sounded like. I recorded 2 of them, and I panned them 100% left and right. I also took the first chord and I reversed itself to give it an entrance. With the music, the acoustics sound like this. For some reason, every time I add an acoustic guitar to a piece of music, it feels like it starts to tell a little bit more of the story of the song. And so that's what I felt like this added, was a little bit of human rhythm, a little bit of natural quality with all these interesting night-like sounds. And from there, I was like, okay, well, now we got the acoustic guitar in there, and I added a layer of chorus and delay to the acoustic guitar. That chorus sounds like this. With the acoustic. With the music. So I thought that made it even more special. You know, it allowed the acoustic guitar to fit in with all of these interesting sounds by giving it its own interesting sound, which was the Microshift and the Echo Boy, both Soundtoy plugins. Very good stuff. And from there, after adding that acoustic guitar, I thought, well, some electric guitar wouldn't hurt. And so I found a really, really cool like distortion sound. And I ended up finding this. That is also two performances, both pan left and right 100%. So I basically played the same thing, a little bit of difference in there. But yeah, that really made that electric guitar really big. So let's hear where I ended up putting it. Here's the beginning. During the break. So after I kept that sustain of those chords going during the break, I started to picture like a cleaner electric guitar. And so I went through the sounds in the Kemper and I found this as a good clean preset. For the break. So check that out. Help take the focus off of that overdriven sustain and slides. So while we're here, let's go ahead and mix and shape this electric guitar, the clean one, a little bit. So what I think we could do is we can put a channel SSL. And what I'll do with this is I will basically put a high pass filter. So we're going to cut out the lows because I feel like it's a little too boomy. And let's go ahead and see what that does. Should punch it up. Definitely more punchy without the plug-in. It sounds like this. Then with, cleaned it up a little bit. Now I wouldn't mind a little compression on there. Since this is a channel EQ, we have compression right up here at the top right corner of the plugin. Let's go ahead and add some of that. Got some attenuation happening. Let's go to 10K and add a little high end. So I just selected 10K and now we'll boost it with this knob. That's getting pretty special. Now, just to soften it up, like some of those slides, whenever I'm sliding on the neck, it creates a harsh squeak. So to combat that, we can add soothe to and see how that sounds. Listen for the high ends. This plugin, electric guitar harsh, that's right on the pick area. Little pop there. Pop's gone. So luckily that preset is doing all the work I would hope it would do, so I'm not going to touch it. Okay, that sounded pretty good. Now we enter the next electric guitar part. Go ahead and unmute it. So here's that part by itself. This is also another guitar that we can shape. So let's begin. Let's go ahead and try to put those same plugins that we just put on the clean guitar before it on this blue guitar. Without, not bad. With, just a little more crisp and bright. I think I like that. So I'm going to commit this electric guitar onto a new track. And let's go ahead and put some delay on it, maybe some reverb on that delay. So we'll start with delay. We'll flip the phase on the right side and left side and begin with this setting. Let's see how it sounds. Cool. So that's an eighth dotted. Let's go ahead and put the ping pong on that. Put your headphones on if you want to hear how this moves left and right. I flipped the low pass on it, brought it up a little bit so it darkened it, and Now we got a new mixed guitar part. Dreamy. Back to the chorus. So now we're getting close to the ending of this piece of music here. Thank you so much for watching so far. If you're liking this, hit the like and subscribe button. You'll be able to see more content like this from me when I drop it, and it will help this content reach more people. So I'd really greatly appreciate that if you did that. And so let's go ahead and hear the ending of this piece of music with the electric guitar effects. Let's go ahead and make that part a little more quiet. We'll group these two together. Command G, outro. Now we can turn these both down at the same time. That feels more appropriate, so I'll start it a little further into the chorus. Nice. Hit the save button for good measure. So there we go. That is the latest piece of music that I produced. I did this about 2 days ago. I went to the river 3 days ago, and man, how inspiring is it when you just hear sounds out and about, and we can use things like our phone to capture it and put it right into a session and basically craft around it. Those coyotes are going for a good like 80% of the song, and without them, it just wouldn't be the same. And this song wouldn't even be existing without those coyotes, because that's where it all started. So without further ado, let's take a listen to this whole piece of music. Go ahead and reflect on whatever comes to mind. Enjoy all the sounds, enjoy the structure. And when it gets to the end of this piece of music, go ahead and in the comments, describe what this song makes you feel in one word. I challenge you. So be thinking of that word. Here we go. I am Nick Johnson, and this is Sound Shapers. So while it's fresh in your head, go ahead and put that one word into the comments that describes this beat. If you enjoyed what happened here today on Sound Shapers, I really appreciate you watching this far. And if you do music yourself and you have a piece of music that you would like me to mix or master, I'm really good at basically mixing vocals into music as well. I would love to help you. In the description, there will be a link to my website where you can get in contact with me and we can get a project going. So I look forward to talking with you if that's the case. Thank you so much for watching, and y'all stay inspired.